Hello, I'm Tony, and today we are off to Sigil in Planescape Torment, Enhanced Edition. Currently free from Prime Gaming until the 14th of June 2023. This is another classic CRPG, very much in the mould of Baldur's Gate and Icewind, and was in fact the first one developed by Black Isle. They only published Baldur's Gate, which came out a year before this did. The graphics are the normal sprite-based against a drawn background style of thing, and just like Baldur's Gate, they're not going to wow anyone. I mean, these are from the last century, just about. It came out in 1999. It's not always clear what items are interactable without using the tab highlighting function, which I believe has been added in this Enhanced Edition. I don't think the original had it. I typically walk around with tab press constantly, and then use the map function to see where area exits are, since that isn't clear either. Outside of these issues, which are pretty much fixed by the Enhanced Edition, the graphics do manage to convey the otherworldliness of Sigil, which is a strange magical city with a huge range of D&D peoples. There's a constant background hum of city life, mostly like people murmuring, that does get drowned out occasionally by the quite dramatic soundtrack that includes some of those bustling city sounds, so it merges pretty well. It ramps up when you're in combat, which sometimes lingers beyond when the combat itself is finished. But once it has finished, it drops back down to a much more slow-paced, I think deliberately disjointed track. That ties in really well with the strange environment you find yourself in. There is some voice acting, though it's not extensive. Some NPCs have their initial line or two of conversation voice acted. Your character and your companions have a fair bit more than that, but the majority of dialogue isn't voice acted at all. That's not surprising though, since the game is more focused on conversation than it is on fighting. And there's a lot of dialogue. It would take ages to record it all. And given this had to come out on floppy disks or CDs, that's a lot of data. The game is built around the 2nd edition D&D rule set, same as Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale, though the Enhanced Edition changes things up a bit. Character creation is the standard allocation of attributes, though here you're playing a character called the Nameless One. You don't get to choose your character name, and you also don't get to choose a class. You start as a fighter, regardless of attribute point allocation. There's also no customization much beyond that. There's no randomness here either, that there is in Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale. You get a set number of attribute points to add on to your attributes. Simple. Class choices are made during the game itself, with the option to retrain via NPCs into either a thief or a mage. You may be required to do a bit of questing before the option's offered. Nothing too onerous though. What you did in character creation is still important, because when you switch classes you don't get the choice of switching attributes around. I've not done much with this so far, I've not been playing for that long, but a quick Google confirms that levels in classes you switched out of remain as part of your character, and you can freely switch back and forth, which I can see being handy as long as you've got the coin for it. I can see wanting to go into one area as a thief, so you retrain as a thief, do your stealth bit, come out and retrain as a mage again afterwards, that kind of thing. The NPCs that can class switch who can also train you further in that class. They can give you class proficiencies, and also at 7th and 12th levels in that class you get stat bonuses and class specific tattoos available to you. The tattoos are equipable items that go in special tattoo slots on your character model, kind of like armour and weapons, and they give pretty good bonuses. The combat in general is not too difficult, or at least I didn't find it so, and if you are outmatched when you enter battle, you have the option of running, which is genuinely running. You hold shift down when clicking for movement, and they run. It's a big increase in speed, which typically means you can get away from people you're fighting. This is obviously handy. I cheesed a couple of big fights by staying near an exit, fighting until I was low on health, then bailing out and running into another area where I could heal up before going back in, and I just whittled the enemy down like that. Combat isn't really a main focus of the game though. What is the mystery of who you are, the strangeness of the City of Sigil, and what the hell is going on with you, which is all revealed via dialogue. I felt that was reinforced by the fact that in my 7 or so hours of play I've not actually found any armour for my character yet. Maybe a clue that combat isn't a focus. The story is really intriguing. You have many conversations with people that know you or at least recognise you, and drop hints and snippets of information about you and your past that you can slowly piece together. Picking up quests from them takes you all over Sigil, a strange city ruled over by the Lady, yet another mysterious figure that even gods are wary of apparently. Conversation options are affected by your skills and stats. Some conversations might be better had as one class or another, or wait until you've levelled an appropriate attribute stat. It does really matter though, because conversations can go south really quickly, devolving into a fight that might otherwise have led to a quest or more information with a single answer that they didn't like for some reason. Because of that, it's not a bad idea to save before a conversation, the same way you'd save before a fight in other CRPGs, just in case you say the wrong thing to the wrong person. The only real goal you're given in the game at the start is the mystery of who you are, as the nameless one. There's cutscenes giving you a glimpse of what appears to be memories, and that's about it. You don't start with a crisis happening which requires heroes. There's no evil antagonist that you need to defeat to save the world. And I can imagine it not feeling like that should be motivation enough just to solve a mystery, but the dialogue and the storyline are well written, and they certainly drew me in. I found the many quests that you can pick up had plenty of lore of the City of Sigil or information about you to make even the basic fetch quests worth doing. Plus, Sigil itself is a fascinating place in D&D lore, so it's interesting to find out about it. On top of that, various buildings and objects in the city give really evocative descriptions that help the world building, or rather the city building, which helps convey the strangeness of the place. One gameplay element that is integral to the story is dying. In most CRPGs, if all your party dies, that's it, you're done, you got to go back to a save game. That doesn't happen here. Dying is something that your character keeps on doing, and you just wake up on a slab and keep on going. As far as I can tell, there's no penalties involved. The worst penalty really is the fact that you might have a long walk back to where you were when you died. Dying might actually introduce you to new characters in new areas and give you the opportunity to learn more about yourself. It's another aspect of this game that really shows how different it is to the other CRPGs. Don't fear the Reaper in Sigil. It's probably not even allowed into the city. When I first played this, a while after it was released but still many years ago from now, I bounced off it hard. I don't remember why. I do only remember that I didn't even get out the first area before moving on to a completely different game. Playing this now, that seems like a really weird decision. I've really been enjoying this game a lot. Perhaps the Enhanced Edition fixed some of the issues that put me off the game initially. I don't know. All I know is that I am going to be finishing this game. I do feel immersed in a really strange world, and I really want to find out why I keep coming back to life and investigate more of this weird place and its extremely varied citizens. This is a strong recommend for me for CRPG fans. If you are someone that skips dialogue, and just wants to get on with fighting with your characters. This might not be the best game for you, but it is currently free, so you've not really got anything to lose. Give it an hour of your time and see how it goes. For those CRPG fans that are story lovers, I think this should be a real treat, particularly if you have interest in D&D lore in general. Okay, I'm going to open a magical portal back home by saying, that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.